Taking a live look outside the federal court building where deliberation will begin in less than 30 minutes in the tax fraud trial of DA Jason Williams. We're entering day 8 and so much has happened in the past week. We're recapping the case and getting insight from attorney and Loyola Law professor Dane Ciolino. Dane, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Morning.
Hi, those jury deliberations, that's right, will resume this morning, but this trial went so quickly. Are you surprised by the timing of this?
No, it really wasn't that quick of a trial. The trial has lasted well over a week, and the issues in the case are not terribly complex. So that's a fairly long trial. So the jurors have a good bit of evidence to deal with, but at the end of the day, it's all going to boil down to criminal intent. Do the jurors believe that Mr. Williams and Ms. Burdett did not know that they were violating tax laws when they were taking these deductions? And it all boils down to that issue of willfulness. And
based on what the evidence that the jurors have been presented with, what do you think the jurors are thinking at this point?
Well, they've already deliberated for 3 hours, and they were unable to reach a verdict yesterday. I would expect today that they're gonna have a tough time reaching a verdict. This has really been a close case all along, and remember, it takes unanimity. All 12 people have to agree either to convict or to acquit. So all it takes is one holdout, and then we would have a hung jury.
And the defense here decided to wrap up without calling any witnesses. What do you think about that?
Well, that to me was a bit of a surprise. If you want to swing for the fence and try to get 12 jurors to vote to acquit, you often need to take the stand, and jurors often expect you to take the stand and explain why you did what you did. And that's true in self-defense cases and in cases like this, where everything turns on what was going on in the defendants' heads, whether they knew they were violating the tax laws. Right. So I was a bit surprised.
And then prosecutors, of course, are trying to paint Williams and Burdett as tax cheats. Do you think they did that effectively?
Well, they had a tough case, the government did, because their prime star witness himself did exactly what the government is alleging that Ms. Burdett and Mr. Williams did. And the defense did a very good job at showing the jurors that he has lied several times in the past to the IRS. He's lied on his own taxes, and he's continuing to minimize his role in all of this, even though he's pled guilty to one count of tax crimes. So again, the government's case is a tough one because he is a tainted witness.
Yeah, Henry Timothy, of course, was not on trial here, but as you said, so much of this surrounded around his actions and his character. I thought it was especially telling when he said that he had forgotten on some documents to take off that he wasn't actually a CPA. So he basically presented himself to Williams and Burdett as being a CPA.
And that was what the defense contended was yet another lie. And I think Mike Magner, the lawyer for Ms. Burdett, summed it up well when he's told the jurors, who did Henry Timothy lie to? Everyone.
And so what are we expecting from today? Of course, there's so much on the line here for Jason Williams. What could possibly happen to him from here?
Well, if he's found guilty of even one of the 10 or 11 counts lodged against him, he's going to lose his law license. He's going to be a convicted felon. The stakes couldn't be any higher for Mr. Williams and Ms. Burdett. Right now, they're hoping that at least one juror doesn't believe the government's case. Then they would get at least a hung jury. Of course, they'd love for 12 of them to come back with an acquittal, but we'll see probably by the end of the day.
All right, Dane Ciolino, thank you so much for joining us with insight on this case. We will be watching this all day long, of course.
Thanks.
All right, guys, so stick with us. The Eyewitness News will have more on our app and newscasts to follow this case.